Hey guys, so today we have a few stories. They all kind of link together, but not quite. I mean, kind of, I guess. It's all usually on the same platform, that kind of a thing. I'm kind of talking about like a group of friends and then just like a similar issue. This did not need to be explained, honestly. As it's been for the last week or so, Twitter's still deactivated, Instagram's still disabled. Haven't heard back from them after they wrote me an email in French. So all I have right now is Phoebe's Instagram, my backup Instagram, which I just started. So you might want to follow me on there just in case I don't get my main Instagram back. And then TikTok, which has been a great love of mine. I love that platform. I think it's incredible. Also, YouTubers are unsubscribing people, so make sure that you still are subscribed. If you remember being subscribed and you're now unsubscribed, subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And if you enjoy this video, then consider subscribing and joining the dramatic stuff that's happening right now. I was just scrolling on my For You page on TikTok and I found this TikTok. I'm gonna play both of them because they're kind of like a storyline. So the first TikTok was a guy basically just saying like, Charli D'Amelio does not have the hype that she used to have before. So she's on like 100 million followers. She's like, you know, one of the most followed people on the well, she's the most followed person on the platform, but she's like one of the most followed people on the internet. But he's basically just saying like, I don't think she has the hype anymore. She gets very similar views and likes to people like Addison Rae and Dixie who have like half the followers that she does. So he's basically just saying like, she might be on 100 million, but I don't think she's got the hype anymore. I mean, I think she's obviously one of the most famous people on the internet right now, but I think Addison Rae has more mainstream fame. She's like starring in a movie. She's friends with the Kardashians. I think Addison Rae has hit like a certain group of people where like Charli is a typical internet famous, right? She's got like quite a young fan base. She's kind of like in YouTube videos, she does collabs, that kind of thing. But like Addison Rae, I don't see her doing collabs with people like James Charles and stuff like that. I see her hanging out with Kourtney Kardashian. I see her starring in movies. Like she's hit a whole different market. So maybe that's what they're talking about. It just seems like even though she's got 100 million followers, she didn't utilize the platform the same way that Addison did. But then again, the D'Amelio family is getting a Hulu reality show. So is that their claim to like mainstream fame? And are they gonna now go down the path that Addison Rae has gone down, which is start hanging out with like actually famous people? Not like, you know, James Charles. I'm not saying, you know, James Charles is still internet famous. I'd say he's like a where would I put James Charles? Isn't it kind of confusing because it used to go from like A-list celebrity to like E-list celebrity, right? E-list was like you're an extra in a movie. A-list is like your Meryl Streep. Like you are known, you've got iconic roles, you're doing the iconic things. But now internet kind of has come into that, and I feel like sometimes more people our age will know who James Charles is than Meryl Streep. Like I feel like, do we then create like a different A to E for internet celebrities? Do we put them into the same? But like, can you ever really compare anyone to someone like Meryl Streep? Like, is that a comparison that we're ready to make? So are internet celebrities always going to be like the below C, even though they're super famous? Like realistically, David Dobrik is someone who is so incredibly famous. He hangs out with people like Kylie Jenner and stuff like that. So he did collabs with her. He's quite clearly just like known by celebrities. He did a collab with Justin Bieber. So like, would we put him in A-list? I'm not ready to do that. But like, would I put him in B-list? Possibly, right? So like, is James like a B-list celebrity? Where he's not quite iconic. He's not an Ariana Grande. He's not a The Weeknd. But he is like a B-list, right? Because is he a C-list? I mean, he's on 25 million subs. Like, is he a C-list? I don't know. I'm going to put him into B-list, right? So like, are these Addison Rae's and Charli D'Amelio's going to then become A-list celebrities by hanging out with A-list celebrities? And I feel like maybe that's why that TikTok came to be, because it was like, is Charli utilizing her fame the way she could to potentially put herself up into that be A-list celebrity status? Do you say status or status? Because I know some countries say it differently. I think I say status, but I think that's just like a British thing. So yeah, I feel like people for a while, maybe like Charli kind of stayed silent a little bit. She stayed quiet, but maybe that's because there were negotiations happening. Like she couldn't really talk about the things that she was doing. And now with the Hulu reality show, could she be the next Kardashian? Are they going to reach the same level of fame? I don't know. I mean, she's got her whole life ahead of her, right? Like Kim was much older when they started that show. And I mean, Kylie and Kendall only came into the limelight when they were about, well, they were in the show when they were younger, but they weren't like the focal point. They really started like getting shown in the TV show and they were like about 15, and that's when Kendall started trying out for modeling career, and Kylie was starting to like date and starting getting her lips done and that whole situation. So like Charlie is right around the age of like Kendall and Kylie when they started popping off. So like, would Charlie possibly be the next Kylie? Fame-wise, like, would she be the next? Because that's all I can think of, like, because they're starting a reality show, like, what's the next biggest reality show? I'd say it's like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's like a long run, right? Like, would Charlie then reach that point? Interesting conversation to be had. Anyway, so that was the one TikTok. And then he films another TikTok when Noah Beck apparently liked that TikTok.
So, like, what's the tea? Because I'm just a little confused why Noah would like a video about Charlie talking about she doesn't really have the hype.
Noah Beck, Dixie D'Amelio's boyfriend. Dixie D'Amelio's boyfriend liked a TikTok saying Charlie D'Amelio does not have the hype that she used to have. I hope his finger slipped. I hope it was an accident. There was another TikTok that I saw, which was Charli D'Amelio did like a campaign with everyone that was supposed to promote staying at home and basically just like, learn your TikTok dances at home and join me and like don't leave the house.
Hold on, someone call Peter. This you? This you? This you? This you? This you?
And then she's on holiday at the Bahamas. She's doing collabs, and I know I'm going to get into the next story, which is going to be James Charles, and I know James Charles said they're getting tests done and all of that stuff, but she did a whole campaign telling people to social distance. A whole campaign. I know, I've always said I have a little bit of a soft spot for Charlie because she's very young, and I can see how all of this affects her, but at the same time, it does not mean there are no consequences for your actions, and as much as I don't want her to get hurt, I'm not wishing upon her. I just think if you're doing a campaign that's supposed to promote social distancing, the best way to promote that with your 100 million followers would be to social distance. Yes, you're right, kids. You heard that right. Now, since we're on the topic of social distancing, James Charles, this was a messy day. This was a messy day for James Charles on Twitter.com. First of all, let's just talk about James Charles for a minute, right? I was having conversations with people. I was doing my research. And then I found out that since the pandemic started, he has done 24 collabs on his channel, and I don't think, no it doesn't, this does not include TikToks, but I'm assuming they would probably be filmed on the same day as one of these collabs. So he did 24 collabs since the pandemic started. Apart from that, we've seen him at Boa a few times, just that steakhouse in LA that all the influencers just had to go to. We also saw him at Paris Hilton's premiere for one of her, for a documentary, right? We saw him at that. We saw him at a Hype House party. We saw him going to Hawaii. Given the benefit of the doubt, he could technically say that those 24 collabs were necessary for work. Like, he couldn't run his channel without these collabs. He couldn't do anything without these collabs. Fair enough. Okay, so he did test, pre-collab, post-collab. So technically he could be saying, I was doing COVID tests constantly. Holiday to Hawaii. Was that work? Were you guys working? I hate being this critical because, you know, I'm trying to be nice, but Hawaii, I missed. I went on one holiday right before the pandemic hit. It was like January, I think I went. It was like between us finding out about World War III potentially happening and then I managed to fit a holiday in there somewhere because I was like, oh, I'm seeing this year's going to be tough. And I went on holiday for 4 days. 4 days, and I went snowboarding, and that was the last holiday I've had. The last warm holiday I've had was last September. And I don't think I'm going to go on holiday in 2021 because it just seems like the UK is not doing very well, and all the other countries just went, no, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square, and they're just not letting us in. So I don't think I'm going on holiday anytime soon, and I'm fine. I'm fine. My mental health's slightly dwindling, but like, I'm fine. I didn't need to go to Hawaii. I could have, but I didn't. I didn't go to a steakhouse, mainly because I'm vegetarian, but also because I care about people. I went to a restaurant 3 or 4 times in between our lockdowns. And then, so one lockdown came down, all of our cases kind of dropped off. So I was like, oh, okay. They were doing some like social distancing in the restaurant. So I was like, oh, fair enough. Maybe I'll go. I went a few times and then the cases started spiking. And before, like weeks before they put another lockdown in place, I just stopped going out again because I was like, I'm going to take this upon myself. This responsibility is me. I'm not going to wait for the government to tell me to stay at home. I'm just going to stay at home. So I was allowed to go out and I still didn't. And I'm not saying this like I'm some moral compass. Like, quite clearly I make mistakes in life, but I also care about other people and I also care about myself, and I wouldn't want to bring anything into my house and give anything to my parents or anyone else. So to say that, oh, these 24 collabs were like necessary. Okay, but Boa Steakhouse, Hawaii, Hype House Party, Paris Hilton premiere, like, you know? Okay, just when we thought this was all over. Chris Clemens, I love the tea, I love the shade, tweeted out saying, influencers be like, what content do you guys want to see from me? Maybe staying home from your 5th vacation this pandemic, and it's kind of eerily similar to James Charles asking, what content do you want to see from me? Then someone replies to that saying, we need to start atting them. And he said, we all know who they are at this point. They all know who they are, and they clearly don't care. I'm just tired of looking like a giant angry on Twitter. Me. And then he quote tweets James Charles's tweet saying, what videos do you want to see from me in 2021? And he said, the stay at home challenge, the wear your mask tag, maybe one where you convey to your impressionable audience how to properly handle a global pandemic. This isn't shade or tea or anything. I truly want the best for James, but it's just insanely disrespectful and selfish to be treating this pandemic the way he and his friends continue to do. It's weird. I don't disagree. I watched the newest Frenemies podcast and I want to make a video on it because I thought it was like chef's kiss incredible. I know people have very mixed opinions on both Ethan and Trisha, but I thought that episode was chef's kiss. If that is how 2021 is going to go for the Frenemies podcast, I'm obsessed already. It was like an awards show for YouTube, which is exactly what we needed to end this wonderful year. And they spoke about how it's borderline sociopathic what they're doing. Like, it's borderline sociopathic where you don't care about anyone but yourself, you don't care about anyone but what you're gaining from this situation. And it seems like they don't care if they spread this virus to people who are, for example, immunocompromised or are older or have anything else that would make them more affected by this, as long as they're getting their collabs, as long as they're making their money, and as long as they're gaining their followers. It's borderline sociopathic. I remember, you know, Sheen Dawson did that Jake Paul documentary. He was like, is Jake Paul a sociopath? Because it was like, he jumps on news vans and he sets his swimming pool on fire and he's affecting his neighbours, but he doesn't care because it's good for his career. Doesn't this borderline sound the same? Oh, I'll go out to Boa Steakhouse, which doesn't help my career at all. I'll mix and mingle in parties full of, you know, hundreds of people who potentially have the virus. I'm gonna then go spread it to people unintentionally or intentionally. Well, I'm not saying they're like intentionally just going to people, but like you're unintentionally going around spreading this because you have to go do your shopping. Like, you have to do your grocery shopping, you have to do your stuff. Like, sometimes you're gonna have to leave the house. So you're spreading this stuff, but you don't care because it's just how you progress in your career. Then Chris Clemens retweets, being at 0% ICU capacity means one bad car accident, one bad fall, one bad allergic reaction, etc., where you'd otherwise survive could literally kill you. 0% ICU capacity affects everyone, not just those who get. Then Ethan Klein tweets out saying 0% ICU beds, rationing care, huge excess of and new infections, LA residents, and he links the infamous Mean Girls dancing thing between Dixie, Charlie, James, Lorray, and all the rest of them. This is starting to get concerning. Then James tweets out saying, got trapped in my bathroom this morning because the door locked jammed and had to break down my door. How's your Monday going? And Shay, that girl Shay, who's like a middle-ish size beauty guru, tweeted out saying, pretty good, sleeping well at night, knowing I'm not spreading and behaving as if we're not in the middle of a pandemic where people are losing their lives and jobs. Try it sometime. Then we have Jen McAllister, who I used to be obsessed with that group of people. There was like Jen, there was Andrea, there was 4 of them, right? There was like 4 girls. They were best friends and would film videos together. Oh, Jen. Anyway, Jen was a great soul. I don't really know what she's doing right now. Apparently she's making music, which is quite cool. So Jen tweeted out saying, if you're an influencer in LA and you're still collabing with people outside of your household, I genuinely hope you're filled with so much guilt that you can't even move. Someone in the city dies every 10 minutes from COVID. If you can't make content by yourself, you're boring. And you know, it's always the influencers claiming that drama channels, you know, our content wouldn't exist without them. Which, fair enough. I mean, if you would just stay at home, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. So maybe just stay at home. Don't give us the content. There was claimed that like, we have no creativity, our videos are just like slander and hate and all of that stuff. And then yet, the pandemic happens, drama channels are staying home, filming videos on their damn own, and they're the ones that have to do collabs to make their videos entertaining. Like, you're telling me you can't film an entertaining video without other people in it. You're telling me you can't sustain viewers without collabing with people. That's what you're telling me. And James Charles replies with, this you. And he posted a collab that Jen did 1 month ago, I played the most chaotic game of Among Us in real life. And then he clarifies saying, just to clarify, I'm certainly not innocent either, as I took part in the same exact video on my own channel. I'm sick of seeing influencers acting holier than others when they're guilty too. He also says, I've been in my house for the last year straight, lol, I barely ever leave. Boa and Hawaii would beg to differ. I would still pay to get us all tested weekly even if we were all locked inside because it's the safe and precautionary thing to do. But no, that doesn't make any sense. You'd be wasting tests. Because if you're staying at home, social distancing, there's really no need for you to do a test unless you have symptoms. Leave the tests to people that are essential workers, like nurses, people that work in supermarkets, people that work in busy environments where they have to be. If you were actually social distancing, you would not need to take a test until you had symptoms. There are millions of tests. Getting tested to ensure the safety of myself, my team that lives with me, or anyone we come into contact with is not wasting tests. And then, actually, tea and shade, Philip DeFranco tweets out saying, well, he replies to that Jen tweet and says, why'd you delete the other tweets? And James says, because I like Jen and don't want to start an unnecessary fight with her. So even Philip DeFranco's looking at this like, are you guys okay? These are kind of out of order because a lot of these got deleted before I woke up because I'm always 8 hours, you know, ahead of the drama. Not ahead, but like I'm missing out. Basically, when I'm asleep, LA's 8 hours behind me. So they're having their daytime where they're doing all the tea, all the tweeting, deleting. And then by the time I wake up, they're asleep, but like all the tea is gone. So then I have to like try and gather it from other places. But in reality, it's kind of hard to then put like a timeline to it because all the tweets are just deleted. So these are just all like different screenshots I managed to find. So, but you get the general gist. These are tweets and deletes. Fair, my collabs were filmed before the stay-at-home order was reinstated. I had a cold and got tested a few times to ensure it wasn't COVID. I didn't claim innocence, just think it's hypocritical of you to call out others for not social distancing when you haven't been perfect either. And that is in response to Jen saying that when she filmed that collab, all the social distancing rules were basically taken down. She filmed that collab and then they were reinstated and then she hasn't filmed a collab since. Now, she also called him out for being ill in the last few videos. So she said you can quite clearly hear that you've got some kind of a cold in your last few videos, which actually puts you more at risk of, you know, how it will affect you, and you're still filming collabs. And he's obviously replying to that with that. He says, regardless, I really like you and don't want to fight, hence why I deleted my tweets once they started getting attention in the first place. If you want to talk further, I followed you so we can DM, but if not, I hope you enjoy your night. So he's trying to take this off the timeline, which, I mean, fair enough, we don't need to see the fight. There were some tweets deleted by the tweet author under Jen's tweet, and then someone said, did you get tested before filming? And he says, of course, my team and I get tested weekly to be safe and precautionary. I'm sure Jen did too. Weekly is not enough for how many collabs you guys are filming and how much you guys are probably seeing each other. In response to Fair, my December collabs were filmed before the stay-at-home order. Someone says, not you backtracking, and James replies saying, I backtracked right away because another influencer wished upon people not social distancing a few days ago and I accidentally thought it was Jen, but it was not, so I quickly corrected myself. There's nothing wrong with that. Now look, I don't wish upon anyone because I think that is essentially the same as indirectly like wishing upon someone, right? But at the same time, it feels odd to me that the people that tend to really social distance are the ones that are being affected by COVID, and the people that aren't social distancing somehow are slipping through the cracks. Like, where's the fairness in that? You know, it's like, I'm not wishing on anyone. I wish this just didn't exist. I wish we didn't have to talk about this. I wish no one was getting COVID. But it just seems unfair that it's someone who never leaves the house. They went to a supermarket and they got it. And then you guys are attending 300 people parties, going to Hawaii, doing all that good stuff, and somehow you guys are fine. And, you know, like I said, I'm not wishing upon anyone. I wish just this didn't happen. But it's just unfair. And I think that's why everyone should be social distancing, because you never know when it's your turn to get it. You know, life has a magical way when it comes to throwing things at people. So I just think, you know, for the sake of you and other people, stay at home. And that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to videos every time something happens. So hit that bell if you're notified when that's happening. Social media links, any other links in the description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.